In San Francisco, you're never more abroad than when you're at home. The neighborhoods change in the blink of an eye. Turn the corner, and it's an entirely different set of languages, flavors, cultures, traditions. And just like that, the familiar rush of discovery that defines the experience of traveling.
Around the world in San Francisco, baby!
In the 1800s, an influx of Chinese immigrants arrived in San Francisco, seeking opportunity with the gold rush and helping to build the Transcontinental Railroad. Today, the Chinese American community is thriving, making up the largest share of the population in San Francisco compared to any other major U.S. city.
Chinatown played a huge part in my decision to move to San Francisco. I'm half Taiwanese, and I grew up partially in Taiwan and partially in Rhode Island on the east coast of the United States. And in Rhode Island, there's not a huge Chinese population, so I grew up pretty distanced from my culture. But when I came to San Francisco and I came to Chinatown and had the authentic food and saw the people that looked like me, I immediately felt at home. The aesthetic of Chinatown is really distinctive. It's not American, but it's not quite Chinese either. It actually looks more like a movie set or like a Disneyland version of China, and that's on purpose. It was really intentionally designed to look like a theme park.
Chinatown's aesthetic is intertwined with a history of discrimination against its residents, but it's a story with a happy ending. Threatened with forced relocation after the 1906 earthquake, Chinese merchants collaborated with the city to rebuild Chinatown into a tourist attraction. The architects they hired had never been to China and derived inspiration from their imaginations. The plan worked, and Chinatown was spared from this fate.
San Francisco Chinatown's success and resilience inspired Chinese communities far and wide. So you'll notice that the themes that you're seeing here and the aesthetic, you kind of see in Chinatowns everywhere. So things like a huge elaborate gate that marks the entryway to Chinatown. It's really colorful. You see the pagoda-style roof and a lot of Chinese motifs. And San Francisco is kind of where it all started. Grant Street is the main drag of Chinatown. You can get your souvenirs and your trinkets there. It's a little bit more touristy. But now we're on Stockton, which is the authentic part of Chinatown. So Chinese people actually bus in from everywhere to do their grocery shopping here, and it's really bustling. And it does feel a bit like China here, but like China in the 1980s.
Stockton is where Chinese San Franciscans come to buy what they need for the home and kitchen. Produce, fresh catch, meats, prepared foods, and imported Chinese medicines. You can find it all on this street.
This traditional Chinese medicine shop carries a lot of things that will make me strong and make Lenza have great stamina. Could I get some chive dumplings, please? One order, like 3, and shrimp dumplings. Pro tip, always have cash in Chinatown. Thank you. Chinatown has a lot of restaurants, and a lot of them are really touristy, but what you can always count on are hole-in-the-wall dim sum stands like this that just sell Cantonese classics. We have shrimp dumplings, shumai, chive dumplings. Everything was $10, so it's a great way to get a budget eat when you're in town.
A mere 7 by 7 square miles, San Francisco's neighborhoods change in the blink of an eye. Little Italy becomes Chinatown, Chinatown becomes Little Italy. We've come for a cioppino, a uniquely San Francisco dish that reflects the city's multicultural heritage.
Sotto Sotto Mare is a very cool Italian-American restaurant here in North Beach, and they specialize in incredibly fresh seafood. You know the food's gonna be good if you get a bib.
Cioppino is a hearty seafood stew created by Italian fishermen who settled in the North Beach area of San Francisco. The fishermen would gather whatever seafood they had left over from their daily catch and stew it in a savory, tomato-based broth, along with garlic, onions, and herbs.
The original cioppino was whatever leftover seafood Italian fishermen had at the end of the day. Obviously, this one is a bit more decadent. I'm seeing crab, shrimp, calamari, mussels, clams, just to name a few. It's truly the best cioppino in the entire city of San Francisco. It's absolutely divine.
The Mission District is San Francisco's Latino stronghold, a vibrant mix of Latin and Afro-Caribbean cultures. Taquerias, fruit stands, and bodegas coexist alongside thrift stores and dive bars, and colorful murals adorn its alleyways, the perfect urban canvas.
There's hundreds of murals throughout the Mission District, and they tell all sorts of interesting stories about the origins and the history of the neighborhood, some of the beauty and challenges faced by its residents. And there's also a lot of social and political commentary. And walking around looking for these murals is an amazing thing to do when you're in San Francisco, and it's one of my favorite things to do.
Murals in the Mission are really, really important because they're our public values. We express them in a very public way through the art. We are fighting erasure, we're fighting gentrification. It's really expensive and hard to live here, and increasingly so for artists.
And what's your favorite part about the Mission?
The artists aren't in some studio in some ivory tower somewhere where they aren't accessible. You can walk up to them, ask them a question. They're the people who work right next to you, they're neighbors, and that kind of is the fiber of community. That's why the Mission is special. Also, there's more murals per square mile than anywhere in the world, and so it's the largest outdoor gallery in the world.
By the way, I wrote an entire blog post about Mission street art and included a self-guided walking tour via Google Maps. So if you ever come to San Francisco and want to check that out, I'll drop the link in the description box below. Right now we are at La Taqueria, which is one of the most famous places to get a burrito in all of San Francisco. And they are one of the many places that are credited with inventing the Mission-style burritos.
Mission-style burritos are distinctive by their size. They are, simply put, gargantuan. At La Taqueria, a giant flour tortilla is filled with meat, beans, guacamole, and salsa, and grilled to crispy perfection before being tightly wrapped in aluminum foil.
Mission burritos are known for their size, and this one is pretty heavy. And we've ordered one with beef head and beef tongue. That's delicious.
Francisco Carnaval Parade. The Mission District spends the entire year preparing for it. It's a massive celebration, celebrating not any one culture, but a unique blend of the cultures that coexist in the neighborhood.
This parade has been taking place since the late 1970s, so it's been around for a while, and it's massive. This year it covers 20 blocks. So lively and so cool to witness. This is amazing. So many different cultures and countries represented. Mexico, Colombia, Brazil, Peru, Nicaragua. Just incredible. San Francisco for almost 7 years, and this is the first time we've attended this parade. And this is one of the most amazing things about living in this city. You really don't have to travel abroad to experience a celebration of all these different cultures and traditions. We get it right here at home.